Good evening, race fans. Welcome to tonight's Pro Street Stock Series, sponsored by East Action Sports. The Team Goon Squad competitors are going out once more here at the virtual Milwaukee Mile. It's going to be 150 laps around the world-famous one-mile circuit. As always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East from the booth, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we get ready to go out. As currently it is single car qualifying underway with Michael Vandermeed sitting on top of pole. We've also got John Friley, a bunch of the usual suspects currently out on track. It's Vandermeed, Babinger, McRae, Evans, Sullivan, Neri currently rounding out 6 of the drivers who have put down time so far. As a reminder, these guys have no fast repairs tonight, 3 sets of tires available. And we've got live race control as well. We've got the world famous Joseph Penn as well as Kai Demarest joining us in their own separate booth to keep track of the action, make sure everybody behaves out here at Milwaukee. And they put on a good performance worthy of the Pro Street Stock name. McRae able to click off a 33.54, just barely edging out Vandermeed, number 84 machine. As let's see, Friley is fast a lot of time at 33.72, good enough for 6th place tonight. We've got James SoundCloud Silvers going out on track in the number 21 machine. One of the members of Lodo Racing. We're going to see what type of times he can put down. One of the smaller grids here. Not sure if maybe some of the drivers a little bit burnt out after last week's a bit of a bloodbath at North Wilkesboro, where we went 150 laps, where most of those were under caution, where Kenny Tripp was able to bring it home in the end, but last week was rough. We had 15 cautions for 96 laps. Now, to be fair, we did have an iRacing red flag situation where over 20% of our field dropped out from the race. But out of 20 drivers that started, we only had, I believe, 16 that finished. As Silvers gets done with his qualifying time, he puts it on pole with a 33.46. Look at SoundCloud go. Probably one of his best qualifyings we've seen all season long. Steven Rex out on track, hanging out, taking it easy. John Friley, he's burning in a little bit more practice laps in the 06 machine, trying to get a bit more comfortable out there. As we're going to take a look at their current points. Right now, it is Droppin' Bombs Racing out front with 216 points for the team championship. A lot of things still shaking up for second, though. You've got Lodo Racing with 140 points, with Devil Core 138 points. So only 2 points separating Lodo and Devil Core for that second place battle. Then you've got East Action Sports in 4th with 74 points. Hayward Racing in 5th with 54. Perkins Motorsports with 22 points. And Fastlane Motorsports, they had their first entry last week with 10 points. Right now, the current team championship is up to $198. So not a bad week if these guys can able to keep staying out, clicking off laps. And the current individual car championship is all Lodo running Droppin' Bombs Racing running 1st, 2nd, 3rd. The number 28 machine has 79 points. The number 1 machine has 78 points. And the number 48 has 73. Right behind those guys, you've got Lodo Racing's number 21 with 62 points. And then Devil Core with 60 points. So it's 2 different championships going on here in this season. You've got the guys racing for the individual, and then you've got the guys racing for the team chase as well. Now, each of these car numbers is owned by a team owner, so they can swap drivers in and out of a number or a car as they see fit throughout the season. It's not tied to the driver, it's tied to the car number. Most of the teams, such as Lodo, Devil Core, and Droppin' Bombs Racing, have been fielding these same drivers week in and week out, with the exception of a couple of substitutes. But then you've got teams such as East Action Sports, Take it back. Perkins Motorsports, another one of those teams that has the same guys behind the wheel each and every week. With you guys such as Hayward Racing, East Action Sports, they have been fielding kind of different drivers week in and week out. And I'm not sure if that's going to affect their consistency as the season goes on and maybe take away their chances at a possible team victory. Or if maybe the name of the game is finding different riders, drivers that mesh well with your crew. Brett Edgar going out on track, the number 98 machine. Feskinen put it on pole, though, with a 33.42, the number 926. Right now, it is 2 Lodo cars up front, and Steve Rex, number 28 machine, in third for provisional qualifying. As let's see what Brett Edgar can do in the number 98 with Devil Core Racing. Brett puts down a 34.03 for his opening lap. He's got to find about a quarter of a second here to possibly put himself into pole contention. Really, no, over half a second to get down to a 33.42 of Jacob Feskinen. Will Edgar be able to improve? No, he does not improve on his 34.03, doing a 34.04 for his second time lap. Now, I believe the only driver that has not put down a qualifying time yet that will be racing is Matt Baer, the number 19 machine. So only about 13 entries here today. Definitely one of the smaller grids, if not, I'd say probably the smallest grid of the season. And it's going to be interesting to see what Bear may be working on. We've only got about a minute left in qualifying. It's a 10-minute single-car qualifying session, giving our drivers plenty of time to make any adjustments that may be needed. So let's see. I don't think Bear and the number 19 machine is going to go out on track here today. Now, out of 6 races, we've had 4 different winners, with Steven Rex and Jonathan Bronson being the only 2-time winners so far this season. Now, today we're at Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Mile. Next week we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway, another mile and a halfer. But let's get ready, ladies and gentlemen, and get ready for tonight's grid. Starting on pole, Jacob Feskinen, number 926. James Silvers, Feskinen's teammate, will be starting second on the inside line. Stephen Rex starting third, number 28 machine. Tyler McRae starting fourth here today. Then we're going to slide a little bit further back in the field where you've got Michael Vandermeet starting fifth. Patrick Sullivan will be starting sixth, the number 16. Jordan Babinger starting seventh. John Friley starting eighth. Tyler Evans starting 9th, Andrew Neri starting 10th, Brett Edgar starting 11th, Mark Proctor starting 12th. We'll cycle back just one more spot where you've got Matt Baer and the number 19 machine starting 13th. And again, we've got Joseph Penn, Kai Demrest acting as our race control here today. As we're going to get ready and send these drivers out. This is guaranteed to be a good one here at Milwaukee Mile. Again, last week, very rough for our competitors at North Wilkesboro, but hoping to see a little bit more clean racing today. The biggest thing we tell these drivers each and every week is drive like you want to be driven. Don't put yourself in too much of a risky spot or worry about wrecking somebody else. 150 laps, 150 miles. We're expecting the pit window to open up around lap 50 to 60 here today, barring any cautions. But let's see what's going to happen to our competitors here today. Are they going to be able to hold on to it, or are they going to have another rough night? Hopefully a nice and easy night, as I know Race Control does not want to have their hands full as well. And we love broadcasting good, clean racing. Again, it's going to be 13 drivers making their way out on track. We're going to get ready to roll that iRacing pace car. As always, I'd like to thank everybody at home that tunes in each and every week, supporting your favorite drivers at your favorite league and your favorite broadcaster. We couldn't do it without you guys, and we know all of our Race Control guys appreciate you guys tuning in, making it a little bit more exciting, as well as our drivers. They always go back, watch the broadcast, and see what all the fans have to say. So it's going to be Feskinen and Silvers, your front row here today. Two teammates behind them. You got the dropping bomb guys, Steven Rex, Tyler McRae. Well, it looks like I don't see any drivers for Hayward Motorsports coming out here today. Possibly Patrick Sullivan. I'll have to check on that one. I think, no, he is not with Hayward Motorsports. So it looks like Hayward Motorsports not making an appearance here today. Fastlane not making an appearance. Only one driver for East Action Sports showing up tonight. So some guys are going to decide, hey, I didn't get the practice laps I really wanted tonight. Let's take a week off, use one of our drop weeks, and get back out there in a following week at Atlanta. Pace car is in. Away we go. It's two teammates up front. But behind them, the field's going to want to go very early and try and get a position. Are they going to get through turn one nice and clean? It looks like they are through 1 and 2 as they go down the backstretch here in Milwaukee. Patrick Sullivan has his hands full, as well as Jordan Babs, the number 48 machine, who's making moves early on. Getting a little bit loose up front. So far, everybody's able to hold on to it. It's Feskinen, Silvers, McRae running 1, 2, 3. Behind them, it's a stack of drivers behind Jordan Babbiter's number 48 machine. It's now Steve Rex, Michael Vandermeter are going to go side by side as well. Vandermeter on the inside line. Can he get the drive early on? Yeah, he has fresh tires here, so he may be able to use up a little bit more traction, as it looks like he will get in front of Rex. Just ahead, you've got Jordan Babbitt, number 48 machine, trying to muscle his way up to the front. Some great racing here today, a lot of side-by-side action. Gotta love the old school track here in Milwaukee. That is the number 16 machine, Patrick Sullivan, who has the fastest lap of the race with a 33.65, trying to pressure Michael Vandermeer's number 84 machine. This is one of those race tracks that if you find yourself getting offline for just a moment, you can quickly find yourself battling very hard for a position. As Vandermeer will once again get around Patrick Sullivan. Here comes Steve Rex, number 28 machine, trying to make something happen as well. Ooh, cutting across the nose of Tyler Evans, but no harm, no foul. Everybody able to keep a handle on it. We got Sweaty Zed joining us saying low dough, front row though. We don't mean to rhyme up here in the booth, it just happens sometimes. All the guys doing a great job here today, keeping it relatively clean. We made it 5 laps in. That's probably, it's got to be better than last week. I've got to say, as a broadcaster, not a huge fan of the camera angles we're given here in Milwaukee. It's a lot of wide shots, but Really not getting too much up close and personal with all of our drivers. There's a better angle. That's Jacob Feskinen racing the number 926. He's chased by Tyler McRae, the number 99 machine, with Jordan Babinger currently third, Silver's fourth, Vandermeed fifth. These guys are battling very hard. As you're watching Patrick Sullivan and Stephen Rex still battling for that sixth place spot. Matt Bear, the number 19 machine, he's going to move his way up. That's trying to get that outside wall. It's a little tail tap. You watch Proctor and the number 36 machine do the same thing towards the rear. Proctor currently running 13th, the number 36 for Perkins Motorsports. Who's that making moves up front? Was that Babinger or is that James Silver's number 21 machine trying to get around the two teammates of Babinger and McRae? Jacob Feskinen has seemed to check out. He's got about a 2-second advantage over second place and no sign of slowing down. Now you've got two clumps of drivers of two teams both. You've got Babinger and McRae as well as Silvers and Vandermeed. So all these guys have some allies to work with here. As Silvers is going to try and go on the inside line of Tyler McRae's number 99 machine. Let's see what happens coming out of the backstretch. Can he hit him with the old slide job? It looks like he's able to slot in behind Babinger, the number 48 machine. Now Babinger, he is up 5 spots so far here today, pushing very hard very early on. Now, I'm curious to see, is that going to play a factor, as tire wear will 100% be something these drivers have to keep an eye out if we do get some good green flag runs. But who's not worried is Feskinen out front, number 926, not having any problems. Really extending the gap on the rest of the field here. Feskinen's found some speed throughout the week, and he wants to come out and put on a show. As Silvers looks like he's going to work his way up into second, passing Babinger and McRae and doing so very cleanly. At least it looks cleanly from up here in the booth. Not sure what the drivers are seeing. Now, are we going to see the teammate Vandermeed also try and make moves, the number 84 machine? As he's gotten around McRae in the number 99. I can't believe how much pace Feskinen has found here today, number 926. I mean, he's got a half straightaway advantage to most of the field. They're all about 2.3 seconds behind him. As you watch everybody stack up into turn one as Feskinen's making smooth sailing of it here today. And obviously, it's way too early to call or really predict anything, but it really looks like the Lodo Racing guys have put in a bunch of work this week. That's Feskinen, Silvers, and Vandermeed. They're always usually a top 5 or so, top 50% easy group of drivers, but today find something else a little bit different. As now Vandermeed's going to lose another spot to to Tyler McRae. But he's going to try and get back to the inside line, see if he can overtake McRae down the backstretch or possibly into turn 3. This very flat track, kind of tough to make any big moves on. Seems like everybody's kind of taking turns, cycling back and forth. Look at this, Matt Bear in the number 19 machine. He is up 8 spots so far here today. Not putting down a qualifying time, starting 13th on track, but has worked his way up to 5th. His team owner's got to be happy. That is points in the bank. If they can get up there week in and week out and finish very consistently, that is what's going to win the championship for these drivers. Excuse me. More so than being able to come out and click off hot laps without any worries in the world. Silver is getting a little bit of pressure from Babinger. Babinger's going to go to the inside line into turn 1. As it looks like Veskinen has dropped the pace a little bit as his last time by. He's now only about 1.9 seconds ahead of second place Jordan Babinger, who looks like he's going to complete the pass going down the back stretch here at Milwaukee. Now, earlier on in the season at some of the mile-and-a-halfers, green flag pit stops for the Commodore, we made it very close to the end of the season opener race before our first caution came out at Charlotte. There's a little bit of bumping and grinding going on. That was McCrae into the back of Matt Bayer's number 19 machine. So great racing all across the racetrack here today. It's still Veskinen out front, Babinger second, Silver's third, Vandermeet fourth, Matt Bayer fifth. Now again, next week we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway, another mile-and-a-halfer, but September 30th, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be all sorts of exciting as we go to Daytona International Road Course. As, oh no, Bayer and McCrae still bumping and grinding on each other. We're only 17 laps in today. And McCrae with a big moment, able to hold on to it. But man, that could have been very, very bad for the captain of the number 99 team. And up front, things equally as wild. Silvers has taken over second place once more, and now he's got Michael Vandermeet, his teammate, right behind him, the number 84 machine. Was Babinger right there. Got into the outside wall coming out of turn 2, able to hold on to it. This is one of those racetracks. It's relatively multi-groove. I mean, you've seen guys run different lines, but you definitely want to try and get that inside line to try and make a pass. As out of all 13 cars that we started with tonight, everybody's still out on track, running hard. Now, in the future, we've been talking to some of the team owners here because we're trying to get as much feedback as possible from team owners throughout the season to see what we can make changes made for upcoming season. This is our first season of the Pro Series, to see what changes they would like to see made. And I know one of the big topics for the team owners after last week was how do we encourage cleaner driving. So expect some new things coming for our competitors, maybe some incentives to get that coveted 0x at the end of a race. As now is Lodo running first, second, third, having 3 cars on the podium. Now for the Pro Series and the team chase, it is your top 2 cars that finish is how we decide what team points are awarded. So if you're running first, second, and third, such as Veskinen, Silvers, and Vandermeet, it would only be Veskinen and Silvers that score points, but it's also an added bonus. That means that other teams aren't scoring points. Oh no! Babinger sends it in very, very deep, gets into Vandermeet. That will put both those drivers back a whole lot of positions. Now Babinger finds himself in 10th with Vandermeet in 8th. Tyler, the Weapon Evans, in the number 553 machine, picks up another spot, moving his way up into 10th. Now Babinger will be in 11th. So right now it is Feskinen, Silvers, and Bear. Bear has moved his way up to third, up 10 spots here today. Now, Bear's last time by, he was not quite a quarter second faster than Silvers in front of him, but running about the same lap time as the race leader, Jacob Feskinen. They're driving hard. McRae checks up to avoid getting to the back of Steven Rex number 28 machine. Now this is where the tire wear starts to come into play. Now Matt Bear's last time by a 33.9 compared to Silvers, who clicked off a 33.98, so just about a tenth of a second faster than your second place number 21, Silvers. As Feskinen still out front, he's got about a 1.5 second advantage over second place Silvers, who's going to rapidly have his hands full here as Matt Bear is charging hard, as well as Steven Rex, Tyler McRae running fourth and fifth. Starting to find a groove and maybe keep those tires underneath them, set up for a long run here today. And that's going to be an interesting strategy on who's set up for what. I mean, last week, if you're going to base it off that, it was going to be nothing but short runs. And this week, it looks like it may be longer runs, as Jordan Babbitt's number 48 machine is going to come down pit lane for an early pit stop. Maybe trying to get some repairs done on the number 48. So again, it is Feskinen, Silvers, Bear, Rex, McRae making up your top five. Jordan Babbitt comes out of pit lane. Now something we're going to try, we kind of touched on in the drivers meeting. All the competitors have to be very, very careful here to avoid drifting out too far from pit lane, as you can watch number 48 machine, Jordan Babbitt. And it's also something to note for the race leaders not to drift too far down, as you can find yourself absolutely collected if you maybe get into a driver leaving pit lane. I don't believe that's going to be an issue here today, as you watch Jacob Feskinen lead the rest of the field down the backstretch here at Milwaukee. This is the battle on track for second place. Pretty good between James Silvers and Matt Bear. Right behind these two, you've got the battle for fourth with Steven Rex and Tyler McRae. Now, Rex and McRae, teammates, so you're not expecting them to see maybe too much front fender action, but Bear and Silvers are two entirely different teammates, so it's going to be interesting to see how the on-track behavior happens with those two. Jordan Babbitt comes back into pit lane number 48 machine. Not sure if he may have radiator damage on that car or what may be the issue here. Or these guys are going to try and maintain their car safety and just try and get through a fuel run here today. And that's probably one of my favorite things to watch for the Pro Series is the different strategies on off pit road. We've seen races earlier on in the season, especially the mile and a halfers, won or lost on pit lane. But right now, it looks like it is Feskinen just really in a world of his own. Number 926 machine just clicking off laps. He's about 1.5 seconds ahead of his teammate James Silvers in second. And about 1.7 ahead of Matt Baer, the number 19. We're going to cycle a little bit further back in the field. We've got Brett Edgar. Now he's made his way around Steven Rex. Brett Edgar, he started off in 11th day, and the number 98 machine has worked his way all the way up to 6th early on. We are not quite a third of the way through here today. We've got Daniel Beauchamp joining us in pit lane, cheering on his favorite drivers as well as his favorite race control guy, Kai Demarest. Always great seeing the world-famous Radical racer tuning in, supporting his favorite league. Daniel Beauchamp, maybe one of the drivers that we could maybe have show up as a ringer for the Daytona road course. It's be interesting to see what happens there. As now, look at this battle we have out on track. It's Patrick Sullivan, Tyler McRae, Brett Edgar, Steven Rex running nice and tight here together. It's got to be, I believe, a 4-car battle for 4th. As McRae is going to, looks like it'll allow Brett Edgar to come through the line here. Again, so far these guys have been very patient. We saw one maybe hiccup that caused the driver to get punted, but other than that, everybody's been behaving very, very well. We're expecting the pit window to open around lap 50 to 60. It's kind of our estimate from what we saw in our drivers doing in practice here today. They run at a 40% fuel allotment for the Pro Series, forcing these drivers to have to think about pit strategy and when and where they're going to decide to come in. Ooh, Brett Edgar grabs a little bit too much apron there. It's going to be interesting to see if Tyler McRae, the number 99 machine, will be able to capitalize here. As in front of these drivers, the field pretty well spread out. I'm curious to see how is that going to affect pit strategies when you have some teams that'll be coming down pit road together and some teams going to be a little bit more spread out, such is the case for Lodo Racing. Now, Lodo currently running first and second. Then you've got Matt Bear, Sullivan running third and fourth, Edgar running fifth. Now, if we can go green this race, I will be ecstatic. We got Larry Fulcher tuning in saying behaving is no fun. Yes, but after last week's performance, I think everybody out on track is looking for more green flag runs rather than high pacing here today. Always good seeing Fulcher in the booth supporting us. Gotta say, one of my favorite clothing brands I've found over the most recent months. Picked up a couple of his shirts, a whole bunch of stickers, and some high quality stuff, so very impressed. In about 6 laps, we're expecting that fuel window to open for our drivers. Up front is still Feskinen clicking off laps. The number 926 machine is about 1.7 seconds ahead of his teammate, SoundCloud Silvers, and about 2 seconds ahead of Matt Bayer, the number 19 machine. We've had one driver retire, the number 48 of Bavinger. As the closest battle on track right now has got to be between the number 99 of Tyler McRae and the number 98 of Brett Edgar. Two different team captains dicing it out on track here. McRae's about 4/10 of a second back from Brett, but Brett looks like he let the back end step out a little bit wide in the number 98 machine. We're going to take you on board the number 99, the Dropping Bombs Racing captain, Tyler McRae. He's trying to chase down Brett Edgar, number 98. And you can really listen to how much these guys are having to stretch it out. These guys, the street stocks are kind of funny. You have to try and carry as much slip angle through the corner as possible, but it's that very fine line between traction and sitting in the back end, cranking around. Now, a lot of these guys run street stocks almost exclusively, so they are very comfortable and used to finding the limit of these machines. Now, McRae currently the number 99 machine on track, but we're going to interrupt my thought right there as Feskinen, Bear, and Silvers come down pit lane, as well as Tyler McRae and Proctor. Proctor actually came a little bit earlier than the competitors. As let's see how long the pit stops are for these drivers and who's going to get out of pit lane first. As now Patrick Sullivan's going to come into pit lane as well, and Brett Edgar, the number 98. Looks like it's going to be Vandermeer, Friley, Rex opting to stay out, stretch out that fuel run just a little bit longer. But it seems so far lap 50 is about the magic number for these competitors on when they're going to come in and take 4 fresh tires and go back out with a full tank of gas. As now your previous race leaders Rex Vandermeer and Friley are going to come in. As I believe it's going to be Silver's the number 21 machine that comes out on track in first place as the pit cycles work their way out. He's going to be about 2 laps down from the race leaders, but again, these pit stops in the street stock machines are so painfully long. As it looks like Silvers, Feskin, and Sullivan all in and out in about 55 to 57 seconds is the average pit stop for these competitors. All coming in on lap 50, so it's going to be interesting to see if they try and make it just a 2-stop race, or if we're going to see any strategy later on here in the evening, maybe switch things up. We're going to leave the camera focused on James Silver, number 21. I'll be right back and go grab a glass of water, but don't go anywhere, as these guys always seem to provide the most amount of action right as I turn my head. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. And we are back as your race leader, James Silvers, will be quickly feeling the pressure from his team owner, Jacob Feskin, number 926, who just set the fastest lap of the race with a 33.61, I believe was the fastest lap. The driver's coming out even with full fuel and having it balanced out with those fresh tires, able to find a little bit more speed here right now. Right now, Silvers and Feskin are about 3.7 seconds ahead from Sullivan, about 4 seconds ahead of Brett Edgar, and about 6.6 seconds ahead of Tyler McRae. So one of the more stretched out fields we've seen here today, or so far this season, I should say. Now, we've got 2 different possible races developing. You got Vandermeer and Mad Bear, who seem to be working well together and not having too much friction. And then you've also got Steven Rex pressuring John Friley as well. So some great racing all across the track here. And guys keeping it nice and even. So far we made it 56 laps under green flag conditions. Hopefully the guys can keep it up. Now it seems to be whenever we hire on 2 race control officials for a race, that seems to be the cleanest races that we get. And the nights where we only have 1 race control is where things go terribly awry for everybody involved. So We might have found the winning formula here, ladies and gentlemen. Now Silver's still searching for his first street stock win. And another series we broadcast, he just picked up his first win in the All-American ARCA Series, and it was absolutely great seeing number 21 up front. So hopefully he may be able to pull off another one, but he's also got Feskinen, the number 926. He's looking for his first win. Andrew Neri shows us a crash. We'll see if we can take a quick look at that one and see what may have happened to Neri. Neri gets a little bit loose coming out of turns 4 and aggressively enters pit lane backwards. You don't see that very often, but that is what an absolute professional does. They improvise, they adapt, they overcome, and Andrew Neri shows us the patented reverse pit entry from the number 8 machine. Still great hard racing all across the track. This is the battle for 8th. John Friley trying to fend off Stephen Rex's number 28.
Wait a minute. I don't think I can be here.
That was DeCastris joining us in the announcer's booth here today. DeCast, a big fan of the online racing, especially while we're broadcasting live, but always a great time talking to him. DeCast, what do you think about the action we have here today?
I think it's really great, man. All these turns and, the changing of gears, it's exhilarating.
Well, thank you. As always, we appreciate your input. Great seeing you out here as well, and hope to see you up here join us again next time as a guest in the booth.
Take care.
That was DeCastris, the world-famous Arma player, joining us here in the booth here today. Enjoying the show from pit lane. Always a great time getting our spectators involved in the show, whether they expected to or not. That reminds me, I don't know if anybody else saw it, that recently at one of the Formula races in F1, a spectator found the live booth, the live microphone that picked up the ambient temperature, the audio from the racetrack, so you could hear when the cars go by, and a random spectator at Circuit of the Americas started making race car noises at the mic, going, meow, meow. And it actually played over the broadcast. It has been brought to my attention that the F1 race that I mentioned was from 2018, and I am uncultured. So my apologies to our fans at home, but so it was from 3 years ago. I found out about it today, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for bearing with me. We hear a little bit of sliding going on up ahead of us, as I believe that maybe Vandermeer and Bear having a bit of a moment. Michael Vandermeer seems to have got around Matt Bear, but they're about 1.3 seconds back from Tyler McRae. Vandermeer, he was running up front before he got that hard hit into the back of the number 84 machine, but able to keep his nose down, his temper low, and keep charging up towards the front. So let's see, next expected pit stop for our drivers is around the lap 100 mark. Most drivers came in around lap 49 or 50. Vandermeer stretched out to lap 51. Andrew Neri came in last time around lap 56, but I don't believe that was a planned pit stop for the number 8 machine. As it looks to me like Veskinen may be giving Silvers a tow up front, trying to coach his teammate in live timing how to navigate this flat racetrack a little bit faster. As right now it is Lodo running 1 and 2. You got Patrick Sullivan running 3rd on track, Brett Edgar running 4th, Todd McRae running 5th. And out of the 13 drivers that started tonight, you still have 12 on track with 2 on the lead lap. Also, I've been informed by Daniel Beauchamp, the world-famous radical racer, recent podium finisher for the Apex Racing Challenge, that it's more of a meow instead of a neum. So it's like a meow with a N, as in November. So thank you to Daniel Beauchamp for teaching me that extremely important life lesson. Daniel, both talented on and off the track. He is just as a good race car noisemaker as he is iRacing competitor. He's got about a 4,000 I rating for the road courses on the official iRacing service, and he's about a 700 I rating when it comes to making engine noises, but he's trying his best, and that is what is important, and it's always a great time seeing the world-famous Daniel Beauchamp out on track and in the grandstands enjoying the show with his mimosa this fine English morning. And as always, again, thank you to everybody that likes the video, subscribe to the channel. We couldn't do it without you, and we've been starting to feed in a little bit more real-life racing shenanigans for the Team Goon Squad network. So it's something to keep an eye on. We're going to try and put out as much awesome content, always for you guys, as we possibly can, and we'll see if I can go real-life racing again in 2022. Maybe the goal. We'll see what happens. But for now, I'll be in the broadcast booth calling all your favorite series. Again, tonight we're at the Team Goon Squad Pro Street Stock Series. It's the best of the business, battling hard for weekly cash prizes, as well as quite the season payout for the different championships. Matt Baer coming to pit lane, number 19 machine on lap 70. Maybe trying to switch up some strategy or just trying anything different at this point. Now Patrick Sullivan, though, he's been gaining time on your race leaders. That last time by, Sullivan clicked off a 33.89 compared to Veskinen and Silvers with a mid to high 34-second lap time. So let's see, it looks like Silvers, the old SoundCloud professional, is going to have a whole lot of pressure from Patrick Sullivan. Now Sullivan only came in one lap after Silvers. So on relatively similar tire sets, is Silvers going to be able to hold off for 16, or is he going to have to quickly let it by and maybe put one more car between himself and teammate Jacob Veskinen? Now Sullivan, who just take over second place from Silvers, he's with Devil Core Racing, racing for Brett Edgar's team here today. So now it is Lodo Racing, Devil Core, and Lodo making up our top three. Probably one of the best runs we've seen from Devil Core so far this season, as they've got cars currently running second and fourth on track. Now Feskinen, it looked like for a while he was giving his teammate James Sullivan a tow. It'll be interesting to see if the number 926 maybe steps on the gas pedal a little bit more, as we have crossed the halfway mark here today. Now, Feskinen is about to have lap traffic. I believe that's going to be Proctor, number 36 machine, that Feskinen will be rapidly approaching. Ooh, Feskinen diving way down the apron. He's got to be very careful. That's the exact moment we talked about in our driver's meeting. If somebody else is coming out on track and you go down across the apron, if you cause an incident, that will be your fault. As Feskinen has a whole lot of pressure here, Patrick Sullivan's been charging hard. Sullivan was almost 0.2 of a second faster than Feskinen his last time by. Sullivan, another one of those drivers searching for his first win here today. He's got about 70 laps left to make it happen. We're expecting about 20 laps left until all of our competitors make their next pit stop. But it'll be interesting to see who tries to stretch out a little bit further, because we do have green-white checker attempts here for the Pro Series. So guys have to account for that in case that final late caution does come out. Feskinen doing everything he can to try and fend off Patrick Sullivan, diving it down deep onto the apron. Now, I don't see Proctor involved with any races for position, so if and when Feskinen and Sullivan catch up to the number 36 machine, you can expect to see Proctor, again the number 36 driver, in that purple and baby blue race car, yield the position to the race leaders. As that last time by, Feskinen and Sullivan clicked off 34.2s compared to Proctor with a 34.5. But I believe Feskinen and Sullivan aren't maintaining their regular race pace, as they're battling hard, taking alternative lines. As here comes Sullivan, he's going to take over the race lead, diving down the inside of turn 3. So that'll put Sullivan up into first, Feskinen second, Silvers third, Brett Edgar fourth, and Tyler McRae fifth. As now it is a possible 3-car battle for the lead. How much pace is Sullivan going to have? Or is Feskinen and Silvers going to be able to stay inside that draft? Maybe keep him within his sights. Now Feskinen keeps going very low below the apron. It's not an illegal move, it's a dangerous move. So it's going to be interesting to see if that pans well for number 926. Or if maybe keeping it on the track is the faster way around, as you see Proctor, number 36 machine. No, or is that Neri? That's Neri, the number 8 machine, yield the race line to the 3 cars battling for the lead. So let's see what's going to happen here. Is Feskinen able to carry more speed running that inside line? As we watch his teammate James Silvers really catch up to him. Not quite sure what the strategy is here, which way is going to make it quickest around the racetrack. As Sullivan has extended his lead to about 0.4 of a second. Let's look at the lap times as they cross the line and see what Feskinen and Silvers are able to do inside that draft. Sullivan with a 34.07. Feskinen matching his energy with a 34.07 as well. Silvers with a 34.18. So Feskinen's able to make something happen there running that inside line, at least running the same lap times as Sullivan. Wagner comes into pit lane on lap 83. About 14 laps till we're expecting the fuel window to open up for the final time for our competitors. Again, it is Sullivan, Feskinen, Silvers, Brett Edgar, and Steven Rex rounding out our top 5 here today, really shaking things up as far as points goes. I don't know how things are going to shake up if they finish exactly as they are. What I do know is Lodo and Devilcore, who are in a heated battle, aren't going to really stretch their points away from each other too much, but they are putting points above the Drop and Bombs racing guys. Now, Drop and Bombs has the number 28 and the number 99 running 5th and 6th is the highest current positions for their 2 cars. Lodo is currently in 1st and 4th. Excuse me, Devilcore is in 1st and 4th. And then Lodo is in 2nd and 3rd. So I think how that shakes out, if they finish exactly as they are, that will keep Lodo in 2nd, Devilcore in 3rd, but they're going to really pull away some of the points that Devilcore has been grabbing this season early on. Or Devilcore is going to catch up. Devilcore and Lodo is going to catch up to Drop and Bombs Racing early on. Drop and Bombs Racing, your current points leader. These guys right now just clicking off laps, not having any big issues. Now I'm interested to see what happens on this green flag pit stop, as we have seen races won or lost on pit lane via crashes, penalties, general driver mistakes, as attrition will be one of those factors that drivers have to face here at the Pro Series. The race scheduled for about an hour and 50 minutes, not including pit stops or possible cautions, as we've been on track for 52 minutes so far here today. Get a little bit of napkin math. Right now we're on track to have the race last about 120 minutes, so not crazy long for our competitors. Definitely better than some of the endurance races we've all run together, where you're really at the limit for a whole lot of time compared to our normal friends that double stint or triple stint in our endurance series. This is a little bit of a walk in the park, but I think right now I want to speak for our drivers. Everybody's just happy we're not in North Wilkesboro right now, able to click off some green flag laps, have a bunch of fun, work on some different strategies, and keep the cars a lot more clean so their body panel guys don't have to come back to the holler after the race and just start over, throw the whole car away, take the gas cap off, roll a new car forward and put the old gas cap on, and boom, you fixed it. As the field stretched out ever so slightly, except for Michael Vandermeed, who is pressuring Tyler McRae, as well as having Steven Rex and John Friley in the mix. So out of nowhere, we've got a 4-car battle for 5th. And now Vandermeed in number 84 machine is going to take over the 5th place spot from Tyler McRae. McRae has pressure from John Friley as well. He's going to try and make a move up the inside. Looks like McRae throws a pretty nasty block on the 06 machine. As these guys are battling hard, you're watching John Friley in the 06, the bright blue machine. He's trying to track down McRae in the all-red number 99, Dropping Bombs Racing. Meanwhile, McRae also trying to put some pressure on Vandermeed, number 84. Vandermeed was able to cut through, capitalize on one of McRae's mistakes, as I believe what happens, McRae may have went too deep into turn 3 and then pushed wide out of 4. We've got Spencer Breslin cheering on Tyler Evans, the lone weapon soldier. He's out there representing East Action Sports all on his lonesome, but doing a great job keeping his car clean and clicking off laps, and he's currently in a point scoring position with Evans currently 9th on track and on the lead lap. That is arguably better than some guys are able to do here today. We expect about the field window to open up the next 3 to 4 laps for our drivers. A lot of competitors came around that lap 49-50 mark, so this means this could be their final pit stop of the night. Barring any yellow flag shenanigans. We're going to cycle back to Tyler McRae, who's right now trying to put as much pressure on Fry. These guys have been battling hard all race. I mean, I'm curious to see how hard they want to push here, knowing that fuel window is about to open back up. But this is a game of data, see what the other drivers are doing, what they can get away with. Now Patrick Sullivan's going to come in number 16 machine on lap 100. Let's see what your race leader Feskinen does, your new race leader I should say, opts to do, how long he's going to stay out for. Now your race leader Feskinen is going to come into pit lane. So James Silvers will temporarily hold on to the race lead. Now he is going to cycle in and out. Now, everybody is cycled in. Brett Edgar stays out again. He has not come in since lap 50. Now, how long are some of these guys going to be able to stay out? Right now, your top three, Brett Edgar, John Friley, Stephen Rex, have not pitted yet. Right as I say that, as is tradition. Brett Edgar comes in. John Friley's going to come in. Stephen Rex also coming in. Now, Matt Bear pitted on lap 70. So he'll be your race leader here, able to click off some laps. Relatively uncontested, I would think. He should go to lap about 120 before he has to come in for fuel. We got Alex Penn join us tonight, the road racing extraordinaire. He's cheering on his brother Joseph Penn, who is acting as race control here today. Matt Bear takes over the race lead, passing everybody that's in pit lane, which is Stephen Rex, John Friley, Brett Edgar. Now we're going to watch a little bit further back in the field as James Silvers, if we stay green, Silver should be the race leader by around lap 120. Is that when Matt Bear will have to come in if Bear did not take a full tank of gas. But behind Silvers, you've got Patrick Sullivan, who's been one of the fastest drivers of the night, right up front and doing so very, very strong. As right now, Silver's about 23 seconds back from Matt Bear after completing his pit stop. Again, Bear came in on lap 70, so he's not going to have to come in until around a lap 120 or so if we're doing our fuel calculations right. And then Silver's about to have company as Patrick Sullivan will be charging up through the field, less than a second back from the number 21 machine. Other than that, it looks like the field is pretty well and spread out here. Besides this battle for second place that's about to be forming up over the next probably 10-15 laps. Now, these guys should be able to go to the very, very end under green flag conditions for fuel. Now, if we get that late caution, it'll be interesting to see who tries to fuel save, who wants to come in for a final set of tires and maybe a splash off. As around 50-51 laps is pretty much the latest we've seen most competitors stay out on a tank of gas. It'll be interesting to see how much tire wear they're really having to face here today at Milwaukee as the lap times reflect it. Now Bear's last time by, he's 37 laps in on a set of tires. He's right about a second slower than his fastest lap of the race. Again, these guys are stretching it out 50 laps on a set of tires. That is a long time to be burning up these street stock machines. They're not high downforce machines. They're big, heavy, relatively slow compared to a modern NASCAR. As now it is getting closer. Patrick Sullivan's got it down to about half a second gap to himself and James Silver's number 21. It's the battle for second on screen. Matt Bear up in first. He's about 22 seconds ahead of second and third place after Bear went for a bit of an undercut on lap 70 taking fuel compared to Silvers, who came in on lap 101, and Sullivan, who came in on lap 99. But is Sullivan going to try and make a move here, or is he going to take it easy and keep those tires underneath him to make it to the end and have a little bit of rubber left in reserve to try and rocket towards the front? Now again, we're expecting Bear to have to come in around lap 120 to take a splash off. So I'm not sure what the strategy was for the number 19. Maybe just trying something different here, which is always fun to watch from our point of view. And again, next week we go back to 1.5 miles for Atlanta Motor Speedway for round 8. And then for round 9, we go to Daytona International Speedway, the road course. Which, from what I've heard in the paddock, a few different teams are going to try and bring in some ringers for the road course. So that should be very interesting to see. Sullivan seems just to be stalking Silvers here. It's still about a 0.3 of a second gap between the Silvers and Sullivan. That last time by, I mean, Sullivan's only about 0.07 of a second faster than Silvers. But I think both these guys are going to try and play it a little bit safe and know that this will eventually be the battle for the lead. In about 9 laps, we're expecting Matt Baer to have to come down pit lane for a top off on fuel or sooner. Now it's 0.2 of a second separating Sullivan and Silvers. Ahead, the race leader Matt Baer, 21 seconds ahead of the second, third place driver. But again, Baer came in on lap 70 compared to the lap 101 in the number 99 pit stop of both Silvers and Sullivan. So in theory, that should mean Baer will be around lap 120. But let's see, these guys always manage to throw a wrench in a broadcaster's plans and expectations, as these are some of the most talented and skilled drivers you can find on the street stock machines for the iRacing Pro Series. As, man, it looks like Sullivan's starting to pick up the pace here just ever so slightly with about 35 laps left to go. Maybe see if he can force Silvers into a mistake. Now, Silvers and Sullivan, very clean racers, not wanting to do anything to another driver they wouldn't want to have done to themselves. Still 10 drivers on the lead lap here. Everybody except for Baer inside the top 10 came around lap 99 to lap 102. As they are just cruising around here. You're on board with Patrick Sullivan. Again, he is third on track. He's up 3 spots from where he started in his number 16 machine. As he looks like he pushes a little bit wide going into turn 3. That's going to give Silvers a chance to breathe, extending that gap to about 0.6 seconds over third place, Patrick Sullivan. Now both Silvers and Sullivan still searching for their first win of the Pro Series. Silver's highest finish was a second at Phoenix in the hot desert sun. He also got a third place at Iowa. His average finish is about a 6th place here for the Pro Series. And then you've also got Sullivan, who's out there charging hard. Sullivan, his highest finish was a 5th at Iowa early on in the season, so good to see him out here still charging hard. Some of these drivers have been collected with a bit of bad luck, but able to hold on to it. But let's see if either one of these two competitors can be able to bring home their first win here today. As Matt Baer did come into pit lane on lap about 117, a little bit of an undercut. So now, just as we called it, this is the battle for the lead between SoundCloud Silvers and Patrick Sullivan. Behind these two, you got Jacob Feskin about 4.4 seconds back. Brett Edgar in fourth, Michael Vandermeet in fifth. But it's interesting to see this is a track that hasn't really meshed well for a lot of drivers. Matt Baer is going to come out of pit lane just behind your race leaders. Now Baer, you may see him come around relatively quickly here as he does have the fresh tires compared to the race leaders on track. .30 laps remaining for our competitors. It's going to be a battle between James Silvers, Patrick Sullivan. I'm not sure if Feskinen in third is going to be able to take away that 4.3 second disadvantage he currently has from the race leaders. But he may have enough laps left to do it. Now Feskinen's last time by was at 34.09. He ran almost identical lap time as Silvers out front. Matt Baer, the number 19 machine, is going to look to try and get his lap back somehow, some way. But I don't think the pace has really fallen off enough for Silvers and Sullivan for the number 19 of Baer to make his way around and do so cleanly. Again, both Silvers and Sullivan searching for their very first win of the season. Doing everything in their power to bring home some much-needed team points for both of their different teams, as well as the individual bragging rights. I mean, these guys want to get out here and show their sponsors, their fans, and their family they've got what it takes to run the Pro Series week in and week out. And now is a great opportunity for them to do so. As that is Evans just ahead of your race leader. Evans is currently ninth, just ever so slightly on the lead lap, about a quarter of a straightaway separating him from the race leaders, and what would end up in him going a lap down, but he's still ninth on track as well. It looks like Feskinen might have fallen off the pace here. He's now 5 seconds back from Silvers and Sullivan. Are these two up front saving the tires, or are they giving it all early on? I should say early on. We're 123 laps in, so about halfway through the final fuel run of the night. And are we going to see a move from Sullivan on Silvers here? Now, I think it's very interesting to see as the run progresses, the cars get tighter. That's where we see guys going a little bit further down the apron, maybe trying to get that to rotate ever so slightly. Or maybe it's just a little bit faster with those shagged out street stock machine tires. Right now, again, it's Silvers, Sullivan, Feskin, Brett Edgar, Michael Vandermeet rounding out your top 5 here today. We still got 9 drivers on the lead lap, but Evans doing his best to hold on to that lead lap as now he's got Silvers and Sullivan in his rearview mirror. He knows the race leaders are coming, and he also knows if he's not able to pick up the pace here, that is going to allow Matt Baer, the number 19 machine, to also grab number 553 East Action Sports backed Tyler Evans. How is lap traffic going to affect the battle for the lead here? Now Evans knows they're coming. When are we going to see the 553? Maybe give the line to the race leaders as just like that, an absolute pro. He goes very wide in a 3 and 4 to allowing Silvers and Sullivan by, but that's going to also allow Matt Baer and the number 19 machine to pick up a spot. Now Evans still inside the top 10, still well within point scoring position. But it's going to be tough as Baer, he has those fresh tires. Baer came in a lap 117 compared to Evans, who came in a lap 99. 24 laps left to go here for the main event, the Pro Street Stock Series at the Milwaukee Mile. Are we going to see a move here from Sullivan? Is he going to be happy with a second? I can't imagine he would be. He wants to get up there and battle hard with Silvers, as they're going to run nose to tail lap after lap after lap. These guys are the definition of consistency here. .22 laps left to go. I'm not sure if and when we're going to see the move from second place Sullivan make it happen. As lap traffic could be an accidental deciding factor for these race car drivers. Lap traffic quickly getting out of the way for all of our competitors. Now, for some of these guys, this may be the best results they have so far of the season. Now, some drivers also get those drop weeks that they use them, but you got some guys, I mean, that haven't been having the best of luck. Sullivan, Silvers, Vandermeed, really pretty much a lot of the drivers that have normally been running up front, either not making it tonight or having issues early on and having to use their drop week. But some of these guys are going to be really happy with the points, how it's going to break down. I mean, Silver, Sullivan running with a commanding lead out front. They're about 6 seconds ahead of third place Jacob Veskinen. Looking in a very good spot here to gain points. $18 laps left to go, 17 laps left to go. Both these drivers have got to be feeling the pressure here today, not wanting to make any mistakes. Risk their race cars at the very end of this. It's been a grueling 150 laps, or 113 laps, I should say, so far out of the 150 lap feature event. As here we go, the battle for the lead. Patrick Sullivan dives at the inside line of James Silvers as they go side by side down the back straight. Matt Baer going to try and give a push to Sullivan, as they're both going to huck it into turn 3 side by side once more. They make ever so slight contact. The number 16, the tail end, drifts wide. As now Silver's going to try and return the favor. Looks to the inside, number 16, not quite able to make it happen with 15 laps left to go. Silvers has a great run out of turn 4. Is he going to look to the inside of Sullivan? He is going into turn 1. Sullivan playing it safe, not trying to cut off the front of the number 21 machine. They're going to swap leads once more. These guys are putting on quite a show with 14 laps left to go. Sullivan able to control the rear of the car to avoid drifting wide and getting into Sullivan. Now who's going to get the better drive through 3 and 4 here? I've got to say, this may be some of the best racing we've seen this season. Both drivers giving each other just enough to make it fun and safe, and still able to absolutely hang it out here today. It seems like it's really a game of who can get through turns 1 and 2 the cleanest among these two competitors to get that run down the back stretch. Now Silvers is doing a fantastic job here right now. The only bad news for him is each and every time they have these little battles between himself and Sullivan, Sullivan is watching to see what number 21 does, going through turns 1 and 2 to see if he can duplicate it with the setup that he has on his race car. Gets mighty close to the back bumper of the number 21. And oh, Sullivan's going to look towards the inside. Didn't quite get the run out at that time. I think he's getting it set up here late. 12 laps left to go. Oh, this is about to be a fantastic race. We've also got another race happening on track as well. Brett Edgar, Michael Vandermeer battling very, very hard for that 4th place spot. We're going to cycle back up front as Sullivan and Silvers going side by side once more. They make contact, able to get off of each other. Coming out of turns 4, going down the start-finish line straight. It's going to be Sullivan on the inside line, Silvers on the outside line. Neither driver wanting to yield here with 10 laps left to go. We've got a battle for the race lead. We've got a battle for 4th as well between Brett Edgar and Michael Vandermeer. Two teams having battles very far apart from the racetrack, but putting on a fantastic show as Sullivan will once again have the inside line going into 3 and 4. Drifting a little bit wide. Silver's going to try and get as much speed as he possibly can out of the corner. Here comes Matt Baer on the inside line as well. Not quite sure what Baer, the number 19 machine, is doing. Maybe trying to get his lap back here. As, oh, here comes Silvers up the inside line as well. They're going to very briefly go 3 wide at Milwaukee. You don't see that very often. As here comes Silvers charging into turn 1. He's going to get pinched off just ever so slightly, not able to get the drive into the corner, but he says, hey man, there's a battle for the lead going on, and I've got to be in it here. Only 8 laps left to go. I don't think Baer is going to get a lap back and then make his way around the track in time. Now, there is a chance of that caution that Baer may be hoping for, as he is currently in lucky dog contention out on track. The first car 1 lap down from the race leaders. looks like Sullivan's extended that lead to about .4 over James Silvers. No, I mean, even if no matter how they finish in the top 2, the top 3, these guys put on a spectacular show. If they can keep on track, regardless, we will have a first-time winner here for the Pro Series. Five laps left to go as Sullivan crosses the line. Silver's still trying to find just a little bit of time to whittle away at about that half-second advantage that Sullivan has up front in the number 16 machine. Oh, here we go. Sullivan doing his best to fend off Silver. Silver's going to dive it in deep into turn 1. Both drivers very, very tight. Sullivan gets out in the marbles. It's going to get very loose out there. That should allow, it will. Silver's with the slide job coming out of turn 2. He will take over the race lead with 4 laps left to go. Sullivan's not going to let that one go unanswered. Three laps to go. Right now, Silver's a half-second ahead of Patrick Sullivan. Both these drivers looking for their very first season win for the Pro Street Stock Series. And the racing has been absolutely phenomenal among these two competitors. These guys have been doing a fantastic job here today, racing nice, clean, and hard all throughout the event. 2 laps left to go as Silvers crosses the line. The white flag will come out this time by. So about a half-second advantage Silvers has over Patrick Sullivan, but we've seen Silvers maintain or overcome a half-second disadvantage. That means it is possible for Sullivan to do it as well, as Silvers pushes wide, runs turns 1 and 2, gets into the marbles just ever so slightly. He's got to feel his heart rate rising here as the laps are rapidly closing off. It's going to be white flag will come out this time by. Oh, this is going to be nice and close. Brett Edgar has a moment towards the back. White flag is out. Sullivan's going to hold that inside line through 3 and 4. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, James SoundCloud Silvers will pick up his first win of the Pro Series with Patrick Sullivan right in tow. We're going to take a quick look and see what happened to Brett Edgar with that final crash. Oh, Vandermeer got into him. Hard. Absolutely punted the man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be SoundCloud Silvers picking up his first season win. But a great race from our competitors. We're going to try and get these guys in the booth. We're going to try and get our race winners up into the booth. And James Silvers is going to burn it down here at Milwaukee. A fantastic win from number 21. Up first, we got Jacob Feskin at number 926, bringing it home in third place. Jacob, how are you feeling after that long green flag race we had?
I feel really good about how the outcome of the race went. Made some mental errors on pit stops, a little bit the first one, and then the second cycle made quite a few. So that ultimately cost me that second place that allowed Patrick Sullivan to jump me. But he definitely did an amazing job saving fuel. So major credit to him for being able to hang on to second there. But finally glad to get a clean race. It feels really good to build some momentum off of the race that was last week. It feels good to put that behind us.
Yeah, I think we're all, broadcasters, race control, and competitors alike were a little apprehensive coming into tonight's event. Now, were you kind of expecting more short runs tonight, or were you still setting up for the long run game and just kind of being optimistic?
I think we collectively as a team kind of built to handle both situations. We built cars that we felt were going to be competitive if we went short runs, but we were prepared to execute a long run strategy if it seemed like it was going to play out that way. So we were kind of just waiting to see how the race was going to unfold before we made our call.
Well, it seemed like it worked well for you, Jacob. Before I let you sign off, who would you like to give a shout out to, or maybe thanks behind the scenes that helping you and the number 926 as well as all the guys on Low Dough Racing be so fast and consistent this season?
I got to give out a major shout out to my wife for putting up with all my racing shenanigans and the time I put into it. Big credit to James Silvers and Vandermeed and Radburn for helping us out with the setups. Wish I am jealous of Radburn right now. He's somewhere on the beach, hopefully having a celebratory drink for us. But we're looking forward to having him back next week. And big thanks to just everybody that allows me to do this and gives me the time needed.
Oh, awesome. Always a pleasure talking to you, Jacob. Congratulations again on third, and to you and the rest of the team for a great performance tonight.
All right, thanks. Thanks talking to you, James.
That was Jacob Feskinen finishing third out on track. Now we've got Patrick Sullivan finishing second in the number 16 machine. Now, Patrick, last week, a bit of a bloodbath, but tonight you guys put on probably the best show we've seen all season long.
Yeah, it was a great race tonight. I wasn't really expecting it go flag to flag, but it ended up working out on the strategy that we had set up, and we ended up with a good finish.
Now, Patrick, were you and Silvers talking at all about the excellent bumper-to-bumper, door-to-door action you guys had out on track, or what was the thoughts among drivers after those last 10, 15 laps of hard racing?
Haven't had a chance to talk to many of the guys, but James and I wish each other well on the track. It was a good, clean race. I really wish I hadn't blown that last corner in with 3 to go. I don't think he would have had a shot to get back to me, but hey, you win some, you lose some. You got to lose more before you can learn to win one.
Well, you guys put on, again, probably the race of the night up there. That was really fun to watching two very professional guys hanging out the limit and giving each other just enough space. So thank you guys for putting on such a good show. Now, Pat, before I just sign off, who would you like to give thanks to that's supporting you in the number 16 machine out here this season?
I'll give thanks to Brett Edgar for the ride, Matt Bear helping with the setup, Temp Setters, Track Time Entertainment, Sim Speed Shop, all the guys that help us out with this. Great race. Thank you to James East and Goon Squad. I appreciate the race, and we'll see you next week.
Always a pleasure, Patrick. Well, appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Excellent. Thank you.
And up next, the man of the hour, James SoundCloud Silvers, with his first ever win in the Pro Series. How are you feeling right now, Silvers?
I'm pumped. You already know it.
That's what I mean. You've had a couple of seasons of first-time wins. I know you brought home one at All-American ARCA. You're getting your first here at the Pro Series. What's the trick, my friend? Are you just getting more comfortable behind the wheel, or why is it all coming to you now?
Well, to be honest, we're getting better racing around everybody that we've been racing around in this series, and we've been, to be honest, we've just been getting better on setups too, because we just have to keep dialing them in and get them faster and faster. So the more we can keep grinding on that, the better we can get our cars, the better off we'll be.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have getting just more and more fast, more and more consistent is probably the biggest thing. Now, some of the setups, how are they going to play over? So I know we started at Charlotte. We've got a few mile-and-a-halfers on the rest of the circuit. Are you guys going to be running kind of a baseline mile-and-a-halfer, then tweaking it to suit the track, or what's the strategy there?
We've been the whole season, we're keeping all of our setups that we've had before, and we can use bases based on what track we go to, and the similarities. If they're close together, we can do a pretty good base off of it, and then we really get her dialed in. Where we go next week, did you say?
Atlanta Motor Speedway next week.
Oh, that's going to be fun because it's going to eat tires away. So it's going to be fun to see.
So I'm looking forward to it. I think everybody else that is at well. Now, before I just sign off, my friend, who would you like to give a shout out to that's been helping you guys out all season long?
Always got to shout out people in Waynesville. Always got to shout out people in Waynesville, North Carolina. Hey, you got to shout out James East too, but you always put on a great broadcast, man. I have to give you that, man. And other than that, we got to shout out everybody at Cornerstone and everybody else, Tyler Evans, Michael Vandermeed, and Jacob Feskinen. And also, we got to give a big shout out to Radburn. He's at the beach. Drink a beer for us, son. Get drunk.
Well spoken as always, Silvers. Great time talking to you again. Congratulations on your first Pro Series win. We're all proud of you and hope to see you carry the torch further in the season for yourself as well as the rest of Lodo Racing.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, James. You have a good night, brother.
You as well, sir. And that, my friends, is going to do it for the Pro Street Stock Series here at Milwaukee. We went green from start to finish. Thankfully, on behalf of our competitors and myself, I mean, that was a great race. We saw some great side-by-side, bumper-to-bumper action. Both drivers willing to lean on each other but not push too hard. But as always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Racing, I'm James East in the booth bringing the action TMP 60 frames a second. And we'll see you same time, same place next week as we go to Atlanta Motor Speedway. Have a great night, everyone.